Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, February 7th, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Also feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the significant feature map across the Atlantic for this evening. We can see right there that we have two cold fronts to the north of the Caribbean, and to the east and west of those cold fronts we have two high pressure ridges sending a lot of easterly winds across the main development region into the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico. If we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see those low level clouds being pushed from east to west by that high pressure ridge all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, and we can see those lines of clouds associated with those cold fronts to the north of the Caribbean affecting portions of the Turks and Caicos and Cuba at this time. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean later on. Let's focus our attention on the posts that were made yesterday about the forecast for today's weather across Jamaica. Our previous video has stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across portions of eastern Jamaica in the morning, then spreading to sections of some central and western parishes, mainly southern parishes during the afternoon, with some northern sections receiving some amount of rainfall as well. And what ended up happening? A post was made at 6:50 a.m. highlighting some amount of light to moderate rainfall across sections of eastern Jamaica. So St. Thomas and Portland got in on some of that. Another post was made at 3:21 p.m. highlighting some amount of clouds bringing isolated showers to sections of northern Jamaica as well as sections of some southern parishes. So Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, maybe in Clarendon got in on some of that, and we even had confirmation on our Instagram page by one follower who stated rain in Clarendon this afternoon. If we actually take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see, yes, we had mainly a partly cloudy day, but we had some amount of clouds bringing isolated showers to sections of Clarendon and then sections of St. Elizabeth right there. We had a little burst of convection right there, and we even had some clouds coming into sections of St. Thomas up to evening recording hours, and we even had some thunderclouds in there indicated by those colors that show the high cold cloud tops. We even had some sparkling white dots in there, and we know that that is indicative of some lightning flashes as well. And the Doppler radar images for right now show the rainfall represented by the greens and the yellows in those very same spots that we have those clouds. So offshore St. Thomas right there, as well as offshore Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth right there. If you actually take a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours is very much across the same spots that we saw the clouds and the rainfall for today. So eastern Jamaica, northern Jamaica, Clarendon, sections of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. So it was very much accurate. As it relates to the temperatures across the island for tonight, we can see 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston at this time, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay at this time, and as you know, the temperature should be lowering as the night progresses. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, both the Euro and the GFS are showing some amount of yellows, and we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher, and the yellows are indicative of at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures. And this map is showing 18D on Wednesday, that's 1 p.m. on Wednesday on both maps. And what are the average temperatures for the month of February? That's 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and when we convert that on the thermometer, that's about 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anything from 30 to 31 or maybe even 32 degrees Celsius for the temperatures for tomorrow. Alright, so let us take a look at the dry air map at this time. Yesterday across Jamaica we had more yellows because we had a lot of moist air associated with that trough. Now with the trough dissipating, or with the trough having now gone, we can see that the dry air has come back, so we have more oranges and maybe even some reds in there, so the dry air is filling back the Caribbean right there. If you actually take a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see a lot of browns across Africa, some amount of lighter browns across portions of South America, maybe Guyana, French Guyana, Suriname, Brazil. We have some amount of browns coming into sections of the Eastern Caribbean that looks to be Barbados, sections of Trinidad and Tobago as well, and this should be spreading throughout the evening hours. If we actually take a look at the wave heights for tomorrow, if we actually take a look at the keys, the blues represent anywhere from 0 to at least 2 meter wave heights. The purple anywhere from 2 or more meter wave heights. And where do we see the highest waves? To the far north and south of Jamaica. And more than likely, considering that those areas are getting the highest waves, more than likely that's where the strongest winds will be. So we can see the greens represent up to 10 to 20 knot winds, the yellows represent anywhere from 25 to 30 knot winds, and it's the very same spots that we have the strongest waves. So far to the south of Jamaica and far to the north of Jamaica, that's where we have the strongest winds for tomorrow, coming in from the east on both maps. So any fishers and other marine interests that are going far out, do ensure that you take the necessary precautions. The wind shear for tomorrow seems to be coming more from the west northwest or northwest. So if there's a chance of some afternoon convection, there might be some bias across the south coast if there's any form of afternoon convection, because the clouds are building up across, as usual, central and western Jamaica. The wind shear will be blowing those off to the south, and then there might be more of a bias of the clouds and the thunder showers across portions of southern Jamaica. With all of these blues right here on the Euro model and on the GFS model, there's a high chance of some afternoon convection across, especially western or southwestern Jamaica. So we shall see exactly what unfolds with that tomorrow. As it relates to the precipitation forecast, this map is showing 2 a.m. on Wednesday. We see some blues across sections of northern Jamaica. So maybe Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, maybe even St. Thomas, getting in on some amount of rainfall. And the consensus is there on the GFS model as well. And we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. If we actually take a look at ahead in the future, we can see 6 a.m. we still have some amount of blues that represent rainfall across sections of northern Jamaica, and we still see that on the GFS model as well. So if you're going out early in the morning, ensure that you have your rain gear. I'm speaking to you, the persons on the north coast. Moving ahead to 10 a.m., we still have some blues across sections of northern Jamaica on the Euro and the GFS, especially on the GFS showing some rainfall across eastern Jamaica. Moving ahead, 3 p.m. now, we see some blues across sections of central and western Jamaica, but is there consensus on the GFS? Not so much. Most of the consensus is across sections of western Jamaica, those same spots where we see the lightest winds. That's where we're going to have the pileup of clouds. So more than likely at 3 p.m. the afternoon convection will be biased across sections of western Jamaica, and with the wind shear coming in from the west northwest, the bias will be across mainly southwestern Jamaica, so especially St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland might get in on some of that rainfall. Now with all of the rainfall that's expected from early this morning up to midday on the north coast, it makes sense that both the Euro and the GFS models are showing the accumulated precipitation forecast for the bias or the most amount of rainfall from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday across northern parishes. So it's a lot of rainfall that's going to be spread out over the next 24 hours from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. So it's not a lot of rain all at once. It's just all spread out. We're still going to be receiving some amount of rainfall across some other spots across south central and southwestern Jamaica, but it's a lot of rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. across northern Jamaica. So do take your necessary precautions. If you're going to wash tonight, ensure that you get something done in order to prevent your clothes from getting wet. Alright, so it makes sense that a post was made on our Twitter page highlighting these very maps that were just shown. It states here, rainfall is being predicted by the ECMWF and GFS supercomputer models to affect sections of northern and eastern Jamaica on the early morning of Wednesday, February 8, 2023. Also affecting sections of some western parishes during Wednesday afternoon. Let's watch what happened. And the very same maps that were just shown for northern Jamaica in the early morning and western Jamaica in the afternoon hours. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's talk briefly about the rest of the Caribbean. So if we look closely, we can see that we have a lot of clouds coming into sections of Belize and Mexico right here. We have some amount of clouds coming into sections of, let's say, Cuba, eastern Cuba. Right there to the east of the Leeward Islands, we have a lot of clouds coming in from east to west. Yes, we still have all of those southwesterly flow of high-level clouds streaking off of South America into portions of the Windward Islands, so St. Vincent, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. All of that is high-level clouds. That's not rainfall at all. There's some high-level clouds maybe to block out the complete sun, so they might not be getting, you know, all the full effects of the sun, so they might be having some amount of cloudy skies. Alright, so moving on, let's take a look at the Doppler radar images from about 1:30 p.m. across the northeastern Caribbean up to this point. We can see that we have some amount of greens that represent light to moderate rainfall and the yellows that represent heavy rainfall. So we got rainfall across sections of the British and US Virgin Islands, sections of Puerto Rico, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, got in on some of that rainfall as well. And even up to recording hours, we still had some rainfall across those sections of the northeastern Caribbean and lots more rainfall in store. If I actually take a look at the Barbados radar, Barbados has a lot of rainfall to the east coming in from the east, going to affect sections of that island tonight. Even areas to the west of Barbados, such as St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Martinique, getting on some of that rainfall, Dominica as well. Not so much across Trinidad and Tobago at this. Well, not so much across Tobago, but we can see some amount of rainfall to the east of Trinidad getting ready to move in. If we actually take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that we have some amount of rainfall across portions of Mexico, Belize, just like what we saw in the satellite images. We can see some greens that represent rainfall across sections of Colombia. We can see some amount of rainfall across sections of French Guyana as well as Guyana and Suriname. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we have a lot of above normal temperatures across portions of the United States, Florida, Bahamas, Cuba, portions of Central America, Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Nicaragua, Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama, getting in on some amount of above normal temperatures on both maps. The average temperature seems to be across sections of Puerto Rico, majority of the eastern Caribbean, sections of Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname and French Guyana. That's where the average temperatures are forecast to be for tomorrow. So nothing too above normal or anything too below normal for those spots. If you actually take a look at the Saharan air layer forecast, we can see that we have some amount of browns coming into sections of the eastern Caribbean. So maybe Barbados by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, Tobago, and maybe even spreading further to the west as the afternoon progresses. You can see a lot of browns still across sections of Guyana, sections of Suriname and French Guyana, as well as portions of Brazil as well. If we actually take a look at the wave heights for tomorrow, we can see that we have anywhere from 2 to maybe even 4 meter wave height across the waters to the east of the United States, to the north of the Caribbean. You can see a lot of high waves across the area to the east of the Caribbean, as well as the area to the north of Panama, Colombia, as well as to the south of Jamaica and Haiti. And this is on both the Euro and the JFS models. And we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Now, why do we have such high wave height? Because of the winds that we're going to be having tomorrow. We can see a lot of strong winds coming in from the east, anywhere from 10 to 20 knots across the eastern Caribbean on both the Euro and the GFS model. The strongest winds are right there to the south of Jamaica and Haiti. Anywhere from 25 to 30 knots are expected. So that's why we have all those high wave heights in those various spots. If you actually take a look at the precipitation forecast for the Euro and the GFS model, these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now until 3Z on Thursday. When we calculate that, that's about 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Where do we see the most rainfall? across sections of the eastern Caribbean and the southern Caribbean. We see that we're going to be receiving less than an inch of rainfall across sections of eastern Cuba, sections of northern Jamaica, sections of, let's say, Puerto Rico. We can see up to an inch of rainfall on the GFS across sections of Dominican Republic, not so much on the Euro. We can see some amount of rainfall across the eastern Caribbean right there. So Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, sections of Barbados and areas west of there. So St. Vincent, getting in on some of that rainfall on both maps. Scrolling down, we can see some amount of rainfall, even up to an inch of rainfall across sections of Venezuela. Sections of Trinidad getting in on some of that rainfall as well. If you actually take a look at Colombia, we see some amount of rainfall there on the GFS and the Euro, as well as Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Honduras. And we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. So if there's a chance of some isolated flash flooding, ensure that you take the necessary precautions and bring your rain gear. Moving along to the western portion of the basin, we can see some amount of rainfall right there across the northwestern section of the Gulf of Mexico on both the Euro and the GFS models. We can see some amount of rainfall, but not as robust. It's actually less than an inch of rainfall across sections of Belize, portion of the Yucatan. That's the forecast for tomorrow, and we know that when we have consensus like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.